She laughed. "You wouldn't last a day without me." Before slamming the door, I said, "Try me." When she came crawling back, what she saw inside the house shattered her ego. 31 male, guess I should have seen this coming, but love makes you blind to red flags, right? Been with Veronica, 29, for 4 years, living together for 2. Looking back now, the signs were everywhere. Let me paint you a picture of our dynamic. Veronica handled what she called the adult stuff. She'd order our groceries online with my card, schedule appointments that I'd remind her about, and constantly told everyone how she basically raised a man-child. Her favorite party trick was telling her friends how I'd probably starve without her or live in filth. They'd all laugh. I'd smile awkwardly. Truth is, I let her believe it. Before we met, I lived alone for 6 years. Cooked every meal, kept my place spotless, managed my finances. But when we got together, she insisted on taking control. Said it was her love language or whatever. So I went along with it. Stopped cooking because she said my food was basic. Let her redecorate because my style was bachelor pad vibes. Even let her handle grocery shopping because I apparently bought the wrong brands. 3 weeks ago, everything imploded. I came home early from work with a migraine. Found her on our couch with some dude named Garrett from her yoga class. Not doing yoga, if you catch my drift. The cliche of it all almost made me laugh. She didn't even apologize. Just started gathering her stuff while ranting about how I pushed her to this because I was boring and she was tired of being my mother. Then came the golden moment. Standing at the door with her bags, she turned around with this smirk and said, "You won't last a day without me. This place will fall apart. You'll be begging me to come back by the weekend." I just looked at her and said, "Try me." She actually laughed, like full-on cackled. When you're eating cereal for dinner in a dirty apartment, remember, you chose this. Door slammed. And just like that, for years ended. Here's what she didn't know. I'd been secretly meal prepping for my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Tomoko, for the past year. She broke her hip, and her son lives across the country. Every Sunday, I'd make 5 different meals, portion them out, label everything. Veronica thought I was helping the building super with maintenance stuff. First thing I did after she left? Deep clean the entire apartment. Found 3 months of her hair in the bathroom drain she claimed to clean weekly. Discovered moldy food containers hidden behind her organized pantry system. The woman who called me a slob had been stuffing dirty dishes in the oven when her friends came over. I took pictures of everything. By day 3, I'd reorganized the entire kitchen, fixed the leaky faucet she said we needed a plumber for. It was just a loose washer, and restored my original furniture arrangement. The place looked better than when we first moved in. But the real kicker? I started documenting everything. Not for social media or anything petty like that. Just for me, I guess. Photos of the elaborate meals I cooked. The bathroom grout I restored to white. It wasn't supposed to be beige, Veronica. The balcony garden I started with Mrs. Tomoko's help. Meanwhile, my phone was blowing up. First few days were her friends asking if I was okay, clearly fishing for dirt. Then some mutual acquaintances mentioning they'd seen Veronica posting about her brave new chapter and how she was free from being someone's caretaker. I didn't respond to any of it. Just kept living my life. Meal prepping for Mrs. Tomoko and myself. Teaching myself new recipes from her old Japanese cookbook. Fixing things around the apartment I'd been meaning to get to. Even started taking pottery classes on Thursdays. Something I'd wanted to do for years, but Veronica said was embarrassingly hipster. Then exactly 1 week later, Saturday morning, 8 a.m., aggressive knocking on my door. Guess who? Update 1. Okay, so people have been asking for an update. Buckle up because this gets wild. So there she was, Saturday morning, looking rough. Hair in a messy bun, not the cute kind. Wearing the same UCLA sweatshirt she'd left in, dragging 2 suitcases. "I need to get some things," she said, pushing past me. I should have stopped her at the door, I know. But honestly, I wanted her to see. She froze 3 steps in. The apartment was immaculate. But not just clean, transformed. My original artwork back on the walls. The kitchen island clear and functional instead of cluttered with her decorative bowls. The living room arranged for actual living, not just for Instagram photos. "You hired a cleaner," she said flatly. "Nope." She wandered into the kitchen and opened the fridge. It was stocked with glass containers, each labeled with meals for the week. Teriyaki salmon, roasted vegetables, homemade kimchi, fresh pasta sauce. You got meal delivery. Nope. The silence stretched. Then she noticed the balcony through the kitchen window. What used to be her wine and wine spot, her words, was now a thriving garden. Tomatoes, herbs, even some Japanese cucumbers Mrs. Tomoko had given me seeds for. What the hell, Brendan? That's when I made my mistake. I should have just asked her to leave. Instead, I said, coffee? I just roasted some beans yesterday. She blinked. You roasted coffee beans? I shrugged and made 2 cups using the pour-over method. She watched like I was performing magic. When she took a sip, her face went through about 5 different emotions. Why didn't you ever? You said my coffee tasted like dirt water. Remember? You bought that Nespresso machine and said real coffee was too much work. She sat on the couch, my couch, the leather one she'd made me store in the basement, now restored to its glory, and started crying. Not the dramatic tears she used to do when she wanted something. Real, ugly crying. Here's where it gets messy. Turns out Garrett, yoga instructor extraordinaire, lived with 3 roommates in a studio apartment. Not his own studio apartment. A studio. With roommates. She'd been sleeping on an air mattress in his section behind a curtain. His roommates apparently weren't thrilled about the new arrangement. One of them, she said, kept using her expensive shampoo and denied it. But that wasn't even the best part. I got fired, she mumbled into her coffee. Remember how she always worked from home? Well, apparently she'd been working from Garrett's place that week. Logged in from his IP address, which flagged their system because she was supposed to be working from our registered address. When IT investigated, they found she'd been logging maybe 2 hours of actual work per day for months. The rest was all automated or delegated to her team without approval. I need to stay here for a bit, just until I figure things out. I almost spit out my coffee. No, Brendan, please. I know I messed up, but dash. Veronica, you cheated on me. In our home. Then told me I couldn't survive without you. Now you want to move back in. She started on this whole speech about forgiveness and growth. Then dropped this gem. Besides, I'm still on the lease. I have a right to be here. That's when I pulled out the folder. Yeah, I had a folder. Actually, you texted me last week that you wanted off the lease. Remember? Said you didn't want any ties to, and, I quote, that pathetic excuse for an adult. I went to the building management, showed them your text, and they processed the removal. You signed the digital consent form. I didn't sign anything. You did. From Garrett's computer. Thursday at 2 p.m. You probably didn't read it since you clicked through in like 5 seconds. The look on her face, y'all. Like she'd swallowed a lemon whole. But she wasn't done. Oh no. She shifted tactics. Fine. But I need my things. My furniture, my dash. Your furniture? I pulled out my phone. You mean the couch you bought with my credit card? The one I have a receipt for? Or the dining table for my grandmother that you painted white without asking? I invested in this place. My design, I made it livable. I didn't even argue. Just pulled up the before and after photos I'd taken. The before pics from when I first moved in, warm, comfortable, lived in. The after pics from her makeover, sterile, staged, like an Airbnb nobody wants to rent. I'll Venmo you $200 for the throw pillows. Keep the crystals. She stood up, shaking. This is wrong. You're being vindictive. I'm going to stay with my parents, and when I come back, dash. Your parents in Vermont? The ones you told me were impossible to live with because they expected you to help with chores. Silence. She grabbed her suitcases and headed for the door. Stopped, turned back. Garrett and I are getting a place together. A real place. He's getting promoted to head instructor at the studio. Good for you. It's a better neighborhood. More cultured. With people who actually appreciate aesthetics and mindfulness. Sounds perfect. She was getting frustrated that I wasn't reacting. And I'm starting my own consulting firm. Lifestyle coaching. I already have 3 clients lined up. That's great, Veronica. Really, you don't believe me. I don't care. That hit harder than any argument would have. She left without another word. Thought that was the end of it. Nope. Update 2. So remember how I thought Veronica was done? Haha. No. The week after she left, the text started. Not from her directly. She was too proud for that. But suddenly I'm getting messages from numbers I don't recognize. Hey, Veronica's friend here. She left some important documents at your place. Can she come get them? Brendan, this is Garrett. Man to man. Can you just let her grab her grandmother's necklace? It has sentimental value. Hi, I'm Veronica's new business partner. She needs her laptop for our venture. Can we arrange a pickup? Her grandmother's been dead for 15 years, and she never had a necklace. The laptop was mine. I'd let her use it when hers broke. And business partner? Sure, Jan. I responded to exactly none of them. Then came the escalation. Veronica started showing up at my building randomly. The doorman, Ricardo, is a legend, though. She'd sweet-talked him once before, but after I explained the situation and brought him a container of homemade pozole, he became my unofficial security. She was here again. He'd text me. Told her you were in Canada. She said she'd wait. I said it was a long trip, maybe 6 months. She left, but the peak entitlement came 2 weeks ago. I'm at the pottery studio, hands deep in clay, when the instructor comes over. Someone's here for you. Says it's an emergency. It's Veronica's mom, Dorothy. I met her maybe 3 times in 4 years. She's standing there in designer sunglasses and a Burberry coat, looking at the studio like it might give her a disease. Brendan, we need to talk. I kept working on my bowl. About you doing the right thing. Veronica is struggling. She needs stability. Okay, so you'll take her back? I actually laughed. Dorothy, your daughter cheated on me, tried to move back in after a week, has been harassing me through fake numbers, and now sent you to ambush me at my hobby. What part of that says take me back? She took off her sunglasses. She made a mistake. Garrett turned out to be unsuitable. Unsuitable? He was fired from the yoga studio. I kept spinning my bowl. Why? Dorothy's mouth pursed like she'd bitten into something sour. Inappropriate conduct with clients. Veronica had to move back with us. It's been an adjustment. I bet. She's not suited for domestic tasks. She needs someone who understands her creative spirit. She needs a job, Dorothy. The woman actually gasped. She's a visionary. She shouldn't have to dash. Dorothy, I'm trying to center this, Qley. Either pick up some tools and help, or please leave. She left, but not before saying, you'll regret this. She was the best thing that ever happened to you. I finished my bowl. It turned out perfect. Last Monday was when everything culminated. I came home to find Veronica in my apartment. In my apartment. She was on my couch, eating MY meal prep, watching Netflix on MY account. Ow! She smiled. I still had the spare key. I changed the locks. You changed the front door locks. Not the maintenance door in the basement. I watched you take the trash out last week and followed you. The fact that she'd been stalking me to figure out entry points was, yeah, you need to leave. Now, or I'm calling the cops. I'm pregnant. I froze. She smiled, thinking she'd won. Congratulations. Garrett must be thrilled. Her face fell. It's yours. Veronica, we haven't been together in 7 weeks. You just said you're pregnant. That math doesn't work unless you're about to give birth to a very premature baby right now. I meant, I might be. I'm late. Then take a test. I need support during this uncertain time. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Veronica, you're in my apartment without permission. You just lied about being pregnant. You need to leave now. She started performing for the camera, crying about how I was heartless, how she'd given me the best years of her life, how I'd manipulated her into depending on me just to abandon her. Veronica, you told me I couldn't function without you. You literally said I'd be begging for you back. And you should be. Look at this place. It's clean, organized, functional. It's different. You changed everything. This isn't the home we built. No, it's the home I rebuilt. After you left, she stood up, walked to the kitchen, and that's when she did it. Started pulling stuff out of cabinets, throwing my organized containers on the floor, smashing the pottery I'd made, tossing plants off the balcony. I didn't stop her, just kept recording. When she was done, panting in the middle of my destroyed kitchen, she said, "How's your perfect life now?" About to get better. I showed her my phone. Thanks for the evidence. The building has security cameras in the hallway too, by the way. They'll show you entering without permission. The The color drained from her face. I'm calling the police now. You can either leave and I'll just file a report, or you can stay and get arrested. Your choice. She ran. Actually ran out of the apartment. I filed the report. Got a restraining order 2 days later. She had to pay for the damaged pottery. I kept receipts from the studio. Building management banned her from the property and fixed the maintenance door issue. But here's the beautiful ending to this saga. Yesterday, Mrs. Tomoko invited me over for tea. She had a friend there, Keiko, who teaches cooking classes. Turns out Mrs. Tomoko had been bragging about my meal prep, and Keiko wanted to meet me. We talked for 3 hours about food, techniques, favorite recipes. She offered to let me assist in her next class to see if I'd like teaching. When I got home, there was one last text from an unknown number. "This is Dorothy. Veronica needs her things." I responded, "Everything she left is in storage unit 47B at Secure Store on Miller Street. Paid for 1 month. After that, it's auctioned. Receipt attached." Then I blocked the number, made myself a perfect omelet with herbs from my balcony garden, and signed up for Keiko's cooking class. Veronica was right about one thing. I couldn't last a day without her. I've lasted 2 months. And counting. My place has never been cleaner. My food's never been better. And that pottery bowl I made, it holds my homegrown tomatoes perfectly. Funny how the person who insisted I needed them most turned out to be the one thing I never needed at all.